Bourbon. Belts. Blockbusters. You are listening to the Triple B Podcast. Let's fucking go.
Welcome back to another episode of the Triple B Podcast, Bourbon, Belts, and Blockbusters. I'm Ryan.
And it's Timmy time.
Oh, this is a show where we talk about wrestling, we talk about movies and shows and other blockbuster type things, and we do it all over a fantastic, wonderful bourbon and or bourbon cocktail, which is what we have today. Timmy, this cocktail was yours. What do we got for him?
We got a nice, just simple Bourbon Spritz. And what that contains is the bourbon from last week. That was the Bob Holiday.
Yep. Bob Holiday's soft red wheat. Soft red wheat bottled in bond.
Yeah. Followed by Aperol, some lemon juice, freshly squeezed. You ain't squeezing.
Fuck!
You get a splash of simple syrup and you top it off with some Prosecco and garnish it with a orange wedge. And that makes the Bourbon Spritz.
Hell yeah.
Really excited for that. So let's give it a try.
Let's do it. Boom.
It just... That's refreshing to
Yeah,
me.
That's refreshing.
It's just nice on the palate.
It's nice.
Nothing really sticks. Like it just blends well together for me.
It does. I agree.
I'm gonna give it an 8. I'm giving it an 8. I really enjoy this one. It's gonna be an easy sip on, and
yeah. I'm gonna go with about a 7, 7.5.
We know your history with Prosecco.
You know my history. I hate champagne with a passion, and yeah, so it's I can taste it, and it takes it down for me.
Gotcha.
I would like to try this without the Prosecco.
Yeah,
just to see what it tastes like without the Prosecco. Or even like a ginger beer instead of the Prosecco. Would be an interesting combo.
A little spice to it.
Spice. Anyways, but I do like it for what it is. And the for me, the champagne, it's not like the New Year's one that we did. Like I was choking that down. Yeah. I will not be choking this one down. This one, like I actually do enjoy the flavor, but I can tell the champagne's there. So it's just like not in the upper echelon of cocktails we've had for me, but I do enjoy it.
Perfect.
Alrighty.
All right, that brings us over to our socials. You can find us on Instagram, X, YouTube, TikTok at TripBPod. We are on Spotify, Apple, and Amazon. We are the Triple B Podcast, Bourbon, Belts, and Blockbusters. And you can shoot us an email at our Gmail, triplebpod619 at gmail.com.
Let's get social. We want to get social. Looked like we were milking a couple cows. Is that the noise it makes? I feel like it's not the noise it makes when you milk a cow.
I don't
a farting sound. Like
no, I feel like it's more like a.
Oh, that might be worse. I don't know.
Maybe.
I feel like if anything, it should be a psh, psh, psh.
Not a. Dun, 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 dun. Nope, no Stone Cold.
No.
All right, fact check for you next week.
All right, but the part of the fact check needs to be you actually on video milking a cow. So you got to figure out how to find that and get that in, Tim. You got 1 week. We're back with another round of the Triple B fact check. This time it is going over to Tim. Tim, how'd we do?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Definitely more than the week before. But so this is a fact check on the fact check last week. So the Rocky movie studio is, in fact, it was released by MGM. So you were right.
What the fuck? How did Wikipedia failed me.
I think you were maybe looking at the actual producers of it, but MGM is the one who released all 6 of Rocky movies.
Oh.
So you were correct in the game.
So I went 7 7
Yes.
out of 9.
7, yeah. Yep.
I went 7 and 2.
Exactly. So you went better.
Go me.
Jade Cargill, was she actually injured? And there's just a lot of conflicting reports. There's nothing official. There was just saying there was reports saying she was injured, and then there was others that said she wasn't. She was just taking time off. So, but with how long it went, it feels like it was an injury. And the way Triple H talked about it.
Yeah. And if it was just her taking time off, she just got here.
Yeah.
So that would also be weird timing, right?
Yeah.
Unless there was like something personal going on that needed her to. But like if it was just to take time off, like that just seems weird. And honestly kind of slightly unprofessional to like show up, finally get to the biggest company in the business, and then you're on TV for like a few months, and then you take a few months off. That seems weird. So it doesn't seem like that was probably it.
And then there was like a new report that just came out this last week that she had some backstage beef with Shayna Baszler, and so maybe that has something to do with it. It's weird that that came out the week that she comes back. But anyways, couldn't find anything official on that, but there was definitely reports saying she was. Tiffany Stratton versus Jacob Fatu's moonsault. We were just talking about, is it the same one? And no, it's not. Tiffy does 3 jumps. 1, 2, 3.
We
saw
fact checked that live at Elimination Chamber.
Yes.
Tiffy does the bottom, middle, and top.
And then Jacob does the second, then top, and then into the moonsault.
Yep.
Solo did hold Tama back in that segment on SmackDown.
He did.
What you were saying when he looked down, he was like looking down at Solo's arm, holding him back.
Okay. Gotcha.
And Solo just gave him a look as Jacob Fatu was coming out. How many times have the Hardy Boys broke up? And I can only find 2 times, and that was in the WWE. There may have been one in TNA. I don't recall. I know they faced each other.
I think I said 2. I think I said it happened twice, didn't I?
I said you were talking about how like Seth or Sami Zayn and KO were breaking up, and
I was just saying that I think the closest I could think of
was the Hardy Boys,
and I said I know it happened at least twice.
Yeah. Rock, you said he appeared at Bad Blood and the Raw After Mania. He did make an appearance on Raw on Netflix, the debut of Raw on Netflix, and then the NXT afterwards, the night afterwards. So, but still, 4 appearances, to your point, is very minimal.
Yeah.
This one, I wasn't quite sure because we were playing the game, but you said Edge was a dual induction into the Hall of Fame, but I think you corrected yourself. But just to make it clear, it was just one so far. He went into the Hall of Fame. And then, was there a name for Triple H's knee, like face crusher move? And I couldn't really find anything other than a knee smash face breaker. Knee face smash breaker. Face breaker. That's hard to say. Knee smash face breaker.
Knee smash face breaker. That is hard to say.
When did Simple Favor come out? It was 2018, September of 2018. What did we compare to Smoking Aces the previous episode? Because there was a movie last week where we're like, oh, this is like that as well. It was Freaky Tales. From the week before.
That's Pedro Pascal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Gene Hackman's, it was not a heart monitor, it was a pacemaker. And you gave me that.
I texted that to you, I think, that night. Or whatever, the next day or whatever.
To make your fact check easier, he said.
I said, I remembered what it was.
But did you see more on that? That was crazy. Like, his wife was apparently dead for a week.
He was
before.
Too.
But
but she was dead for like 2 weeks before they were found.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's still, I just read an article on it this morning. Then they still have no idea what led to the one dog dying.
Yeah. That's insane.
Like, they don't know what happened to that dog because there were 2 other alive dogs still on the property.
Mm-hmm.
And the front door is open.
Yeah.
So unless he was like locked in the closet with the wife.
Maybe.
But then it's also weird to like, I don't know. It's weird. But like she died of hantavirus.
Yeah.
Which is essentially from exposure to typically like mice or rat droppings or urine or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then he died of like cardiovascular disease and like late, like pretty far past Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
So
just insane.
So I'm wondering, like, she must have died and he has Alzheimer's.
Just kind of forgot about her.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So that makes me wonder if then, like, maybe the dog was in there with her or something and like, they were locked in and he just didn't know. Mm-hmm. That's wild.
Yeah.
Such a crazy, just...
insane. Sad.
The way that, very sad. Very, very, very sad. But just the way that it happened is just like, holy crap.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Yeah. Brings us over to our next talking point. It's been a hell of a week for our Seahawks team. Just dominoes were falling left and right.
Yeah, man.
And maybe some fans are excited about this, but I'm not excited about like it makes sense, some of the stuff, but also
I think it really I like my feelings about it are in limbo right now because it's really going to depend on what John Schneider turns around and does with if they do end up trading DK in the next week or so, or I guess month, because he has said that they want to try to get that resolved before the draft.
Yeah.
But you would also think that you would try to get if you're going to trade him, seriously trade him, you would think that it would be like try to get it done before free agency starts, because if you get his contract off of the books too, now you're talking about having like close to $100 million in cap space now. Because I mean they were already at like 30 something before knocking Geno's off.
Yeah.
Right. So cut Tyler Lockett on Wednesday. 30 minutes later, it's announced that DK Metcalf has requested a trade that the Seahawks agreed to explore options on. And then yesterday evening, we trade Geno Smith to the Raiders for a 2025 third round pick this year. And their latest third round pick. They had 3 third rounders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And yeah, so which I mean I'm good getting a third round pick back for Geno. That actually, I think, makes sense. I think that's totally understandable. If they do trade DK, it's really going to be like, hey, what the fuck are we getting back? Being he's the number 1 receiver in the open market now.
Yeah.
The free agency market isn't too hot with wide receivers, and neither is this draft class. So that could help him. His contract also hurts, though.
Yeah. For sure.
I would be curious, like, do you rework his contract to then get a fucking trade done?
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Like, rework it so that, like...
I mean, he's on his last year right now, so...
Yeah.
I think even if you do trade him, the team getting him is going to immediately try to re-sign him.
That's true. Yeah.
So, I think they'd be willing to take the cap and everything. So
yeah, because then if you just turn around and then rework it, then that cap hit drops significantly. So, yeah, that's I guess that's a good way to look at it.
It's just crazy though. Just know, we had one of the strongest, if not best, wide receiver rooms, and now it's JSN and Bobo.
Yeah, JSN and Bobo.
I mean, that's just crazy to go from this high. And I mean, I was impressed with the 10-win season last year, thinking we just need a few more pieces.
Offensive line.
Yeah.
That was it.
To push us to the next level. And here we are just, I mean, I get it. It needs to happen. Yeah. Is Geno like the one to take us to the Super Bowl? Most likely not.
Well, yeah, and I guess he was wanting like $45 million a year.
Yeah.
And
sounds like
Seattle's
the contract really broke down.
No, we're not giving you $45 million a year. And I think that's understandable because, yeah, Geno has played well, but he also has not played well enough to demand $45 million a year contract. So
I just hope that, I know Sam Darnold's out there, but I hope, we don't spend big on him if that's who we target. Because I think he was lucky to land in the Vikings situation.
I know.
arguably the next best wide receiver room.
We already hit on a quarterback that had like a career resurgence with Geno.
Yeah.
I don't want to then jump to another one and try to piggyback off his essentially sophomore year of a resurgence, right? I don't know. And that's where I'm like, I don't know what we're expecting here. I'm part of me is hoping if anything that we're gonna then, I don't know, if I can trade DK for a late first round and then couple both those first rounds to trade up in the draft maybe and go get somebody that go get Dart. Right? Because I don't want Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders.
I was going to say,
I don't want either of those two.
Or do we just...
Cam Ward would be, out of those two, would be the one. I don't want anything to do with anything that has to do with Deion Sanders. He's a fucking twat. But and he will. And the thing is like, well, it's his dad. He has already made it known and he has been vocal about it that he will be involved.
Yeah.
In wherever his son goes.
Yeah.
And whatever that means. And I'm just like, that's not what you want. That's not the type of fucking anything that you want to happen. So,
yeah.
I think Jackson Dart, though, has the most potential.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, I mean, it's also, I don't know that he's a week one starter either, though. So that's the thing. And I don't know that any of the quarterbacks in this draft class are week one starters, realistically. So, I mean, some teams are going to have those two.
And we hope for the following draft, you know?
I know. But then it's like, who do you bring in?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's kind of where it's like, are we just going to roll with fucking Sam Howell for a year?
What if,
Daniel Jones? Go get Danny Dimes? Bring Drew Lock back?
Yeah, let's bring him back.
I wouldn't be terribly against that.
I mean, he wasn't great for the Giants, but
Justin Fields?
Do you have a reunion with Russell? Would he sign for a little bit like he did with the Steelers? I know he had a lot of cap left over from getting straight up released. So
the Broncos were still paying him like $60 million, whatever the fuck it was last year.
So I know. It'll be an interesting.
I just pulled that number out of my ass. That's not something I don't care about the actual number they were paying him. That's not something we need to fact check next week.
No. All right. Well, it will be
it's going to be interesting.
What was already going to be an interesting offseason for the Seahawks is just that much more convoluted now. So
yes, it is.
Such is life, you know.
Yeah.
There's not many seasons where we had questions going in. Like the last real offseason where it was just bad was 2009. I want to say.
Was that after the Mora?
Yeah. And
after the Mora year.
And we've had a few hiccups with contract drama, but not a lot. So it's just been It's weird to go to this murky water.
It's feeling somewhat similar to like the one or two off seasons before we drafted Russ.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because like there was a lot of very similar like turnover. From the previous two regimes at that point, really, because like I mean, Mora really just inherited Holmgren's team, right? And then Mora's shit year, and then Pete and Schneider took over. So it was looking. It just kind of feels like that, where it's like got rid of a bunch of got rid of a couple like stalwarts on the roster, and then we got made some other transactions and stuff that just kind of feels similar. So I don't know. We'll see. Did you see what the original package attempt to the Raiders was?
Yeah, for Crosby. Yeah,
Geno and Metcalf for Crosby, which is kind of shocking to me that they didn't pull the trigger on that.
Yeah,
because especially
especially with Pete over there,
Yeah, well, and like you're getting the best wide receiver available right now. Yeah, hands down.
That team needs it too.
Yeah, and then you're getting the best quarterback option you've had since
Derek Carr.
Since Carr was there. Yeah, and
even then,
that still might be. You still might be able to lean the scale in Geno's favor there too. I don't know. Like, Carr's never done anything hugely great in the league, really. I mean, he had a couple solid years.
Yeah, he throws up decent stats,
Yeah.
but doesn't take them anywhere. So
Yeah, which is very similar to Gino these last couple of years, right?
True.
So,
True. Game time. This is you brought this in.
Yes, we have a game. I wanted to do it here because it could potentially involve both of our main two segments, Blockbusters and Belts, depending on who we both pick.
Yeah.
Right? So, the game is Guess Who. It is very similar to the board game, you know, like the kid game growing up where you have the little cartoon character guys and you like pick the one to be your person and then you're trying to guess what the other person has.
Yeah.
Right? And you're using the other people like, do they have glasses or whatever? And it says no, so then you knock down all those.
Yeah.
We don't have those, obviously, so this is just us asking questions back and forth.
Yeah.
But I have my person, you have your person. I'm asking you questions about your person to try to guess who your person is before you can do the same and guess mine. And whoever guesses it correctly first wins.
Okay. So we're going back and forth?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. It would be going back and forth. And then like say you guess, I can have one shot to guess after to kind of as like a rebuttal. Like,
Yeah.
Then because it is like whoever goes first type thing, you know?
Yeah.
So then it'd be like, if you guessed it, but I have it, then it'd kind of be like, oh, okay, we kind of tied there.
Yeah.
But if I don't get it in that guess, then, you know. Then
Makes
you win.
sense.
Right?
All right.
All right. You are essentially my contestant on the game, so I will let you open the questions.
Okay. Are they in wrestling?
Not prominently.
Oh. Okay.
They have they been involved before? Briefly, yes.
Okay.
Is yours an actor?
Yes.
Okay.
Is yours an actor?
Yes.
Okay.
Comedy actor?
Yes.
Okay.
Is yours male?
Yes.
Okay.
Shit. I guess is yours male?
Yes.
Okay. I guess I said actor, but that
Yeah.
doesn't mean that anymore. So
Can I take a guess?
sure.
Or should I ask a question? Can I
No,
ask
like,
a question?
Your question could be, is it this person?
Okay. Is it David Arquette?
No.
Damn it.
Has yours been involved in the wrestling world at all?
No.
Okay.
Is yours a comedy actor?
Yes.
Okay.
Has yours been involved in superhero movies? Like prominent superhero movies,
no.
I guess. No. Okay.
Is yours over the age of 40?
Yes. I believe so. Yes. Yeah. Yes, he's over the age of 40.
Okay.
Does yours host a podcast?
No.
Okay.
Is yours Mickey Rourke?
No.
Damn it. Well, he's not a comedy actor. Damn it. Fuck.
Is yours Vince Vaughn?
No.
Okay.
Comedy actor has been in the world of wrestling.
I know. I need to
Not prominently.
dwindle my questions down.
I know.
Because I'm like, yours at least has the wrestling world one.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't have anything else to go off of other than comedy actor right now. I need to ask better questions.
Is yours an athlete?
No.
Okay.
Is yours Caucasian?
Yes.
Okay.
Is yours Caucasian?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Has yours voiced any animated characters?
Yes. Is yours Jon Stewart?
No.
Damn it.
Has yours taken any dramatic roles?
Yes.
Okay.
Is yours still alive?
Yes.
Okay.
Is yours still alive?
Yes.
Okay.
Has yours done any horror movies?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Has yours been in, or are they in like any major franchises?
It's a good question, and I want to say no. No.
Okay.
Has yours been in a movie recently? as like within a year?
No, not that I know of.
Okay.
Yeah. Does yours have red hair?
No.
I thought I was onto something.
Has yours voiced an animated character?
Again, not that I know of.
Okay.
Yeah, not that I know of.
Okay.
Is yours Paul Rudd?
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, wait, that's superhero. Fuck. Damn it.
Have we talked about this person
On
on
the
this
show?
podcast?
Yes.
Oh shit.
Yes.
Oh man.
But not like prominently.
Yeah.
But yes, we have discussed this person on the podcast. Is your person above or under 40?
I don't know exact age. I would put them like young 40s.
Young 40s.
Very
okay.
young 40s, I would say.
Okay.
Is yours part of a major franchise?
No.
Fuck. It really makes it hard.
Is yours more movie or TV?
Movie.
Okay. This is harder than I thought it was
Yeah,
going to be.
this is way harder.
This is way harder than I thought it was going to be. Okay.
Okay, let's see.
I already asked if yours has been involved in the wrestling world, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And it wasn't?
No.
Okay.
Damn, this is tough. Are they tall?
Oh, yeah, that's actually a good question. They're not like super tall. Mm-hmm. I guess depending on what your scale of tall is.
Are they 6 foot plus?
I want to say yes.
Okay.
I want to say that I would say he's taller than me.
Okay.
But I don't know an actual height.
Yeah.
But I would guess around 6 foot, 6'1", somewhere in there maybe. But I'm not. I could be totally off on that.
Yeah.
But that's a guess I'm taking. Is yours like a household name?
Yes.
What the fuck? Damn it! I think I made it harder.
Very well known name. Yours, you said they're in the wrestling world. Was it just an appearance?
In the world?
In the wrestling world, you said not prominently. Was it just an appearance?
It was a well talked about appearance. And I'm trying to think if there was more than just that. It's known specifically for like one appearance. I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head if it was more than that.
That doesn't help me, but does at the same time.
Is this actor like still current, or is it more of like a 2000s comedies actor type thing, or is it more like
No, more current.
more current?
More current. Okay, that's I like that. So is yours post 2010? Like 2010 up.
No.
So it's before 2010.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is yours married to another famous person?
Yes. Sons of bitches. This is way harder,
I know,
man.
this is way harder than I thought it was going to be. I didn't think it was going to be this hard.
It's just so broad.
I feel like you are way closer to guessing mine than I am to guessing yours, though. I will tell you that. Just based off some of the questions you've been asking, I feel like you're closer.
Okay. All right. Is yours Drew Carey?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Drew Carey. Because it was the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
And obviously he's in the Hall of Fame. Too,
Yeah.
but I wasn't going to give that away.
No. Yeah.
But And I was like, I can't remember if he's
I think
done really more than that, but that was like the thing that he was like known for in WWE. Was just throwing himself out of the ring when Kane came in.
Yep, that's a good one.
Yeah. Oh God, I gotta take a random guess. He is married to? Is it Colin Jost?
No.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Justin Timberlake.
Son of a bitch. Damn it. I was going to ask if they were in music too. Fuck, I should have. That would have definitely fucking summed it up for me.
I thought you were on it because you asked about the animated, and I was like, oh, it was in Shrek and Trolls.
Shrek,
yeah.
That's a good one. That was good. All right.
That's a tough game. Maybe next time we just like say a specific
category. Yeah. That's fair.
But I liked it. That was fun.
Yeah. All right.
That brings us to
belt. Whoopah.
Whoopah.
That's what I'm doing. Timmy, what do you want to talk about?
We got to talk about what opened Raw. CM Punk,
yes, we fucking do.
A pissed off CM Punk, laying down the pipe bombs left and right.
Oh my Lord.
Taking recommendations from the crowd, from Pat, from Michael Cole. He dug into The Rock, dug into Cena, and then quickly pivoted to Seth Rollins. Angry CM Punk is great. Yeah. Angry CM Punk on a mic is even better.
Yes.
And then that led to an all-timer of a brawl out.
Yeah.
It
was great.
It's just like, just when you think it was done, someone gets loose, goes after him. And this all ends up leading to a steel cage match next Raw.
Yeah.
What is supposedly supposed to end this feud. It's kind of weird that, he ended his feud with Drew McIntyre in Hell in a Cell, a form of a cage.
Yep.
And now we got Seth Rollins on a Monday Night Raw in a cage. What do you think about it? And the whole segment and all of that.
Yeah. The whole segment was fucking awesome. I had it on here in my notes too. Mm-hmm. All I put was Seth, Punk, mind blown emoji. It was just like, that was fucking amazing. It was such a good just fucking intro to the show.
After and what transpired at Elimination Chamber, to be able to take your attention off that just for a little bit was great. Yeah,
absolutely. I do hope that Monday finishes the feud to a point. I think that it's been amazing, them back and forth and everything. And I do feel like this had the potential to go the same distance as Drew and Punk did, but I also feel like it would almost be like back-to-back blood feuds for Punk, and because of that, I feel like it's better that this one might be ending sooner than going longer like that. Does that, you know what I mean? Like, have him essentially repeat the same storyline type stuff, right? Like,
yeah. No, I 100% agree. The only thing that could have let this feud go on was if either Punk or Seth was champion.
Yes.
And that to me would make sense and would be like a Mania match. Like, I would just be like, yes, into that. And I think they can make a story and make it good, but to your point, it's very like they just had a drawn out one with Drew.
Yeah.
It was great. It was my feud of the year. I believe it was yours as well. And to be able to top that, it would be tough.
Yeah. And so now, if the feud ends on Monday, what does that mean towards WrestleMania for both those guys?
I still feel...
Or...
Okay, go ahead.
Is the feud not actually fully ending on Monday? And is this where we get the beginning makings of the triple threat match between Roman, Punk, and Seth? Does Roman interfere in the cage match on Monday?
It probably is going to lead to that, and I could foresee that. But part of me still feels like Punk is going to get into a main event at WrestleMania. Like
Somehow.
he's gonna use his there's this favor, and
Yeah.
I don't know how Paul can pull off a favor with that, but
Yeah.
there's that favor, and I feel like if there's any year for Punk to main event, even though you got your matches set, I feel like he somehow gets into it.
Yeah.
And I don't know how, but then to your point, the triple threat Roman Seth Punk has its name all over it, right?
It would be huge, but it also Punk doesn't really make sense in that. And the only reason I even brought that up is just because I've seen that. I've seen the fan bookings for WrestleMania match, like the both cards for both nights and stuff, and I keep seeing that pop up. But Punk doesn't really fit into it. He does purely because of the Seth side. But Punk and Roman don't have almost really any history outside of the Shield.
The Shield,
right?
and
But
right before Survivor Series.
Yeah,
and that was it. Mm.
But they didn't really do much.
Yeah,
they haven't feuded.
Nope.
Right, in any way.
Yeah,
really, outside of the blocking him from walking out of the cage and then Punk blowing by him to get out when Roman was about to come out. Right, like that's like all we've seen as in tension between the two of them.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you now in the next what's amounting to like 5 weeks before WrestleMania right now, something like that.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, then
yeah,
try to build that quickly. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's not like Roman's gonna come out and cost Punk the match to Rollins.
Yeah.
Right. Because if anything, Roman wants to fucking kill Rollins because of the
because
double
of Royal Rumble and just all their history.
Yeah, so that's where I'm like, I don't feel like the triple threat really makes sense. So that's partly why I'm like, Seth and Roman at Mania
totally
is
makes
a fucking
sense.
blockbuster match.
Yep.
Right.
Agreed.
That's why I kind of hope that it does end clean tomorrow.
Yeah.
Punk can get the win, and then.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree.
Or maybe Roman comes out and costs Seth against Punk, and that ends the Punk and Seth, and that sparks the Roman Seth.
Yeah.
I'd be good with that too. But
yeah, something's gonna happen, right? Yeah, I agree. No, I 100% agree with you. I don't think you can just yes, it was a very cool segment on Raw.
Yeah,
there's a lot of history there, but to keep it going until WrestleMania, that I feel like that's hard to do to keep us invested with that.
Yeah, without pulling all of the same personal stops that they did with Drew and Punk, right?
Yeah,
and then like I said, then you're doing it like back-to-back years.
Yeah,
right. So it would just be,
Yep.
The next thing I said I want to talk about is I just wrote down that Lyra Valkyria is like the perfect women's IC. I thought that the match was really good between her and Ivy, and just the working the leg, the injured leg of Lyra, and then for her to be like, multiple different times look like down and out and everything, but then for her to like battle back and win, like I was just like that was fucking good.
Yeah,
I don't feel like you see the clean type of match like that as often.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoyed that. So, and I really like Lyra.
Yeah,
I think she's a phenomenal in-ring performer, and I thought there's totally makes sense to me that they could have her drop the IC here because it's
because
the first women's mid-card title. Second, I guess technically the US was first.
Yeah,
right?
true. Yeah,
but you know what I mean. Like the first one for that brand, and how long are you going to have both these champions of these brand new titles hold them for?
Yeah,
and we got title matches on for both of them in the same week. Yeah. And I don't know if it's one of yours or not, but I'm just like, they're both retained. Yeah. Right. So I was kind of shocked by that. So,
yeah. Agreed. I did. I had this IC title match on there, and I wanted to say shame on me for not talking about last week's IC title match with Dakota Kai as well.
True.
Like, because I've been calling them out saying they needed to work with these mid-card titles that they introduced, and last week's match with Dakota was so good, and then to follow it up with not as good of a match, but it was still really good. Yeah. There were some hard-hitting moments in it, like the German suplex and backbreaker.
Yeah. The German that she hit her with was fucking picture perfect. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. And just to your point, like building off a leg injury to just overcome was really cool. There was storyline into this. So if this felt like the first like actual women's IC title defense, and I really enjoyed it. So I hope they continue with this and don't make it an afterthought for the next few weeks again. Just keep going with it. Yeah. Keep the momentum going. Yeah. All right. The next one is Chad Gable meets a guy in the alley on his quest to master La Lucha Libre. Pays $500 for a mystery box and kind of does like almost a Legend of Zelda, like pulls in and like looks like he's about to hold it above his head, but that's where the video cuts off. So it's gonna be to be continued.
Are we getting Chad Gable back in a lucha mask?
I don't know.
Like a golden lucha mask, or you know what I mean? Like,
or maybe it's the mask of whoever he's seeking. And
maybe. Yeah.
So
I'm still just like, as cheesy and kind of stupid as this is, I'm like fully invested in it.
I'm 100%.
Who the fuck is he going to see?
I've been upset from the previous weeks because all that's mentioned is Gable's away on his quest, but not like this was gold vignette. And then Pat McAfee just following up. He's got a box for $500 that was passed along a sweaty old box, and it was gold. Yeah. It was comedy gold, and I'm just excited for who it could be potentially. I've been hearing rumblings of Ray Phoenix was officially released from AEW, so he's free to sign. So that'd be kind of cool, but you would think he's just going to go team with Penta.
Yeah, I would be kind of bummed if that's how they introduce Ray is then as a bad guy.
Yeah,
to
no,
Penta,
I agree.
Which I mean could make for some fucking killer matches for sure.
Hell yeah.
Penta and Ray Phoenix would be great, but we've talked about so many times that the fucking Raw tag roster needs to be better, and that's immediately how you do that.
Yes.
So I would be a little bummed if that's the way they went about it.
100% agreed. I can't think of anyone, and I feel like
because I'm trying to think of like a heel lucha. Or someone that has had a heel that has had a lot of issues with luchas in the past, and like you would mention JBL at one point, but then wasn't JBL like recently on? Oh, but that was towards the New Day.
Yeah, but he was on, but he's been making a lot more appearances in the wrestling. He was on TNA for something, and so I mean it could still be him, but it be him. Yeah, and so I guess. Yeah. That's the cool thing about it is we're literally still have no idea, and we're still talking about it. So,
all right, I said women's world title.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I wrote Rhea's the face of the women's division. There's no reason for her to not main event WrestleMania, and also, which this might be my biggest issue with it, they made her look fucking awful.
Mm-hmm.
Made her look absolutely terrible with, like, this has not been a part of her character or anything at all recently, but all of a sudden, like, now she's just super distracted by the person at ringside to the point where it literally costs her the match. I don't know. I was just like, that is like a very heel thing, and she's the farthest thing from a heel right now, even though, like, maybe this is going to lead to her turning heel again or something, but I don't know. I didn't like it. I don't like that it's going to be Bianca and fucking Io. I know the match is probably going to be fucking good because like they've put on really good matches before, but neither of them have been super impressive lately. And so I'm just like, why the fuck? Why is this? Why? What is happening? How are you not having the biggest star in the women's division headline WrestleMania, unless that's gonna then somehow turn into a main like a triple threat match, which totally could.
Yeah,
but if that's the case, then why not have Rhea go into WrestleMania as a champion?
I
don't know.
I was very confused by this too. There was a follow-up promo. I don't know if you saw it online, but Rhea basically is going into madness now and saying, this was my fault. I got, I overthink everything, and this is what led to tonight. And she said the same thing about costing Io the match, and she's just getting in her head. And to me, that kind of made sense, but why not talk like there was nothing leading into it for her to just freak out that Bianca was rooting on Io. Like that would not cost that should not cost you the match. Like why would you care at all? So I did not like that part of it at all.
Again, Bianca straight up shoved Rhea right in front of Jessica Carr. Mm-hmm. That's disqualification. Hands down, there is no argument. Yeah. That is DQ.
But Rhea initiated that.
It doesn't matter.
But I know.
Somebody not in the match attacked somebody in the match. This is now twice within the last 2 weeks now that we've had a situation like this happen. It's DQ.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And then to go on and have the match end the way it did. I was just like, what the fuck? So I was very disappointed with that. I think it's a bad call. And I like having Bianca win the Elimination Chamber, adamantly against that. Still am. Think it was a very bad choice.
Especially
especially with what it's going to be is Bianca versus Io. No. With the options that you had there, no. It's terrible. Alexa Bliss versus Rhea. Alexa Bliss with the fucking Fireflies and the Fun House and the Wyatt Six potentially in her corner against Rhea. That's a fucking WrestleMania storyline. Mm-hmm. This is not.
I don't know how it's gonna play. It could be a triple threat, or maybe Rhea battles Bianca for that shot. Like you earned it, but I would like your shot ever, and put it on the line or something, and gets back into the main event, and then you got that storyline of she's never beaten Io one-on-one going into Mania. It's not big, and like you said, Alexa is bigger. Like that has a story to it. Yeah. So I'm very confused of where it's going, and it's not a good look for either of the women's championship matches. I think there's just not a big storyline, at least as of now.
Like, Rio was literally the thing keeping the women's division afloat right now, and then you literally just cut that straight off.
Yeah, so I'm sure there's something in the works, and we just don't see it. But I agree. I don't like how that ended out, for sure.
Yeah. The best possible option would have been Becky replacing Naomi in the chamber and Becky winning and it being Becky versus Rhea at WrestleMania. Yeah. It would have been phenomenal and everyone would be on board with that.
Yeah.
But that's not happening. So.
Switching over to SmackDown. Same. The tag team division, while Aldis was trying to make it all make sense in his circling of the board and everything, it's still a mess. And now I feel like we're getting a sixth tag team added to the fold with what happened with Andrade and Humberto, I think it was, that he pulled aside and was like, you don't need to take that. Like, maybe he's trying to recruit him. They become a tag team and then gets added to this 5 tag team mix up. Who knows? It's still a mess. I don't think next week's tag team title match is going to end cleanly at all. I think someone's going to cost the Street Profits, and we're still going to be in ground zero. And then the triple threat match, Pretty Deadly win, was a shock. But they just had a title shot too. Like, give it to the Garças. What's the disrespect to them?
I know. They haven't had a title shot at all. They're the only ones involved in the entire situation that haven't.
But I mean, that match was really good.
Yeah, it was.
It was awesome.
It was an awesome match. And like you said, when was the last time we saw a fucking match end by the fucking backslide roll up?
Yeah.
Right?
I can't think.
That was I was like, what? I'm okay with a roll-up finish there because when was the last time we saw that roll-up finish?
Yep. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And it was shocking.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
like you said, why couldn't it have been the Los Garzas in that moment?
They need a win, man.
Yeah,
They're just Legado del Fantasma is just getting disrespected left to right.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of theirs, and they need more. But again, I don't think that's anywhere near the end of where this is going with this tag team division.
Yeah, I don't know where it's leading to, really. And yeah, all this is fucking whiteboard, pentagram, fucking...
It was a good comedy from Aldis.
Yeah,
I will say
I was
that.
just like, what is happening right now? But yeah, we'll have to TBD.
To be.
Yes.
Yep. Agreed.
And I'm back. Orton's opening was fucking amazing.
Yeah, it was.
It was.
It really
was
was.
really good. He ripped into John. He ripped into, I mean, obviously KO.
Yeah.
But the way he ripped into KO was the way no one else has ever ripped into KO yet. Mm-hmm. And like just calling him out for being such a jealous and small individual. And that's why he is doing the things that he's doing.
Yeah.
And then just to end it with the way he fucking ended it with, I felt something last week that I haven't felt in 10 plus years. And I'm going to prove that Pat McAfee is the second best puncher in the WWE. I was like, oh, it's happening. It's back. We got the fucking legend killer back now. And I was like, oh my God, yes, that's fucking awesome. So
I'm really excited.
This is going to be a WrestleMania match, and this is going to be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
They're going to put on a show.
They really are, and I just like what you said. It was just really digging into KO in a different way. Like we've heard that, he's just like lost his mind. He's crazy and everything, but it's just like you're just a little piece of shit essentially. And I like that. This is way beyond the Roman thing. Like you can't even talk about it anymore. And so I felt like that was a jab at Roman too.
Yeah.
The way it was just like jabs left and right,
it was
plugging
so
everything. And Randy Orton's just so good. And he's incredible. And I thought that was a very strong intro. Again, just the way they've been opening the shows with the John Cena thing, but then bringing out two strong openings to kind of like take your mind off of it.
Yeah.
I thought that was well done.
But then they both allude to it also.
100%.
Call it out also at the same time. So it's like it takes your mind off it, but also brings you right back to it, but then immediately takes your mind off
exactly.
it again. So,
I thought it was well played on
like
both sides.
It's like a fucking emotional roller coaster of intertwining storylines in the WWE right now. And I just loved the more like a bottom for Rock.
Yeah.
I guess that brings a new meaning to rock bottom, huh, John?
It was so good.
Awesome.
It was so good. Speaking of Cody Rhodes and promos, that was a fire promo from Cody. Like he's always good on the mic, but when he's emotional, it's just he takes it to the next level. Yeah. It's clear to see why he's the number one guy in WWE. He takes a little from like the John Cena passion, but like take Sami Zayn's emotion. Like he's everything in one. And
there's a little bit of like a Randy Orton dark side in him too, or maybe like a Triple H-ness to him, right? Like it's he has like the perfect combo of
just.
Or there's even better yet. Maybe there's like a touch of Stone Cold in it, right? Where it's like fuck the authority type vibe to him too, right?
Yeah.
So
and it was, and then just him closing with "You want some? Come get some."
Yeah.
It was just gold. It was just he took me for a ride to that promo last night, and I'm just like, all right, dude, like. Last week was crazy. Elimination Chamber, one for the ages, but just he's already getting the feud going into WrestleMania, and I'm excited for it.
Speaking of, I want your take. How do you have what happened at Elimination Chamber happen, and then nothing from The Rock or John Cena on either of the 2 episodes. Of you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's I don't like it. Like I think there needed to be something, but also like maybe if it's next week, sure, then then I can get it, I guess. But it's because like maybe they needed the John or the Cody response first, right?
Yeah,
without there being anything added. But I don't know. I felt like it was just like, okay, so now we're just gonna like this whole thing is gonna kind of stay buoyant due to just them re-showing over and over again what happened at Chamber.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So I'm just like, I wish there was something, but
I think this is just what it is nowadays, and we're just gonna. But I think it helps us stew on it more. Like there's a lot of angry people, and it just lets it build more and more. I'm not a big fan of it either. I think like what more way to get more heat on it than have the people be there. But
I think it would have been better and more impactful if Cody wasn't live on both Raw and SmackDown this week, and we didn't see Cody for 2 weeks, 3 weeks maybe, and it was just John and The Rock, fucking just boasting about it and fucking just building. I think that would have been better, but I just think that's where we're at with today's wrestling world, where we've got a lot of part-timers out there, and we're just gonna have to wait to see what they do next. And I hope after this year, they're all done. Honestly, I kind of do. Like, I mean, I know, like, we know John's done because John has already gone on record and say, like, you will not see me in the ring again wrestling. You know, like, he will not be donning the jorts or anything after this farewell tour.
I mean, I respect, and then I could see potentially a situation maybe where like final boss Cody is next Mania, and maybe that's where that becomes the end of Rock, and then there's really no one left of Days of Old other than Randy Orton, but he's full time until he fucking can't do it no more. Yeah. Right. But also, are we really gonna get the end of The Rock without Rock versus Roman? True. So I mean, we're getting close to the end, but then you still got Roman, who's a part-timer and stuff. So
yeah, he could go away too. I'm good with that also.
I don't think he's going away.
If you can't actually work, you should, maybe. I don't know. Just saying. Most other jobs, if you can't show up regularly, you get fired. So
I'm gonna try it with my boss. You know, I'm the attraction, okay?
Yeah, I'm only gonna show up once every 5 months and see how it works.
But pay me the same.
But please. I'll do video promos. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'll make appearances.
I'll do all of the video promos that you guys put on outside on the Safeway Titantron. All right. My final thing is I wrote Bianca and Naomi.
Okay.
I said I could have done without the screeching scream cries. However, it all around was a pretty good segment. And it actually, I feel like it got me a little more invested.
100%. I was like rolling my eyes when it first happened. But then as it kept going, I was like, oh shit. And
then she hit her with the "you ungrateful bitch," and I was like,
and then it had me full on when that was thrown in.
Okay.
My only qualm with it was, and I know Bianca talked about it on Raw, but she wasn't visibly that upset about it on Monday Night Raw, and she was fine just sitting outside the ring for the title match. Yeah. And she said, I don't want to talk about it until I talk to both of them. And then on SmackDown, she's just like visibly upset about the whole thing.
Still hasn't talked to him.
And still hasn't talked to him. So that was my only qualm with it. But then, yes, the whole later on just, it was good.
I do feel like now I'm not really sure where this is all going.
Yeah.
Which in I think a good sense, because like I'm not able to just call it. It's not just another women's story that they've put on recently where I'm like, okay, I know how this is going to end. Like, but I do feel like if they're going to do the Bianca turn that we've talked about potentially, which still is there, it's still possible. God, that would have been a fucking perfect moment to do it.
Yeah, that's
Jade, like, she gives her like the go ahead, and then she turns around to walk, and then Jade goes, and she got up on the ring apron for a second instead of sliding in, and I was like, oh, Bianca's gonna come up from behind her and pull her off the fucking apron and attack her, and it didn't happen, and I was like, oh, dang, slightly let down with that, but I'm also like, maybe that's not in the cards, maybe Bianca isn't behind this, that keeps me invested in that regard now.
Yeah,
but I'm also like, Jade versus Naomi is not the match that we want.
No, and
at all. So
I thought it was really gold though when she got her up for Jaded, she yelled out Bianca like Naomi did. Like it was just that last cry for help and everything. And I thought that was just like another emotional attachment to it. But this is why I feel like there's something with Rhea getting her match back at WrestleMania and getting Bianca. It does not feel right with Bianca on against Io.
What if Jade finds out that Bianca was behind it, and then what if Jade puts Bianca out of action, and then the Chamber winning is now like up for grabs, and that opens the door for Rhea?
Yeah, see, I could get
Something
behind
like
that.
that.
And like I said, there is a storyline with Io because she's never beat her one-on-one. So with SmackDown, it really murkied up like, why is Bianca attached to anything else other than this storyline? Like, that was good. That was really good. And I feel like Bianca needs that heel turn to keep her character fresh and who better to go against your former Jade? Like, I think that's the Mania match right there.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. I hope
it
starts playing out that way. But we'll see. My final talking point is LA Knight takes the U.S. title. I think it was the right move. If you asked me when like Shinsuke first did this turn, I would say no. Like, let LA Knight do something else, like we were talking about. But they didn't treat the U.S. title very well since him winning it. Yeah. And so his character definitely fell flat really quick.
Shinsuke's.
Yeah, Shinsuke's. Which is unfortunate.
It is unfortunate, but I think there is something to, and I mean this with the utmost respect, but I think it's hard to have someone that the majority of your crowds can't understand.
Yeah.
Trying to be like a face of a championship, right? Because like when Shinsuke puts on promos, I am not invested in it in any way, shape, or form, right? Because it just doesn't have the same gusto to it.
Yeah.
Right. When you like that's just life. That's just like when you don't understand the language that's being said or spoken, it puts a little bit of a damper on things.
Yeah.
Right. And so I feel like that's the hard part with Shinsuke being with this character change, because it was awesome and it was really cool and it was really well done. But then part of the reason why I feel like it fell flat was because all of the video packages and the promos and stuff fell flat. And you know what I mean? And that's just kind of, I mean, it's super unfortunate, but it's just kind of.
I'm a big Nakamura fan, and I just been hoping for something big for him. He's.
But it is hard because you will never get a promo like from Punk or Seth or Cody or anything like that from Shinsuke. Yeah, because we don't speak Japanese. Yeah, right. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so like for the, the home base of of the fan base of WWE, which is the United States.
Yeah.
That's where the majority of that lies, which is, again, it's a bummer, but that's kind of where like EO, I fall off with EO too, because like it's hard to understand her when she's giving promos. So the promos just don't hit.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And that's tough, but it's.
Yeah. That said, with LA Knight winning it, I think it's the right time to do it. It's right before Mania, and you just have your mega star with a title, and he can feud with whoever he wants to now. Mm-hmm. It's, I don't know, just the way some things played out of it, like there was Jimmy and Shinsuke lurking in the back. Like, I was excited for the potential. Jimmy takes a loss out of that unnecessary loss last night,
completely.
And I'm just like,
Drew,
well,
of all people too.
Why did
annoying to me?
Like, why not have Priest interfere to stop that match?
Yeah, and cost McIntyre.
Like, and so
instead of attack him afterwards.
Yeah, and so it just you were building momentum with Jimmy, and then you just sweep it up. Like it sucks for him. I know that's a totally another talking point, but it built off of LA Knight, and so hopefully.
So that being said, like, who do you think the Mania match for the US is going to be? Who do you think? It can't be Andrade. It can't be Carmelo.
No,
it can't be Nakamura. It needs to be fresh. It needs to be somebody new. Is it The Miz?
Yeah, that's maybe. But then they're teasing the Mellow Don't Miz, and so it's I honestly don't know, and which sucks because I think everyone's almost tied up. But maybe you get a resurgence from Jimmy, and it's a face versus face match, and I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Or I also had the thought when the whole kind of Naomi turn happened too, like, what if they actually put Naomi and Jimmy together as like heels? So it could be kind of interesting. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't know. A lot of stuff kind of up in the air right now.
Yeah. It was definitely a much better week in wrestling than last week, and a lot of questions going into the WrestleMania season still.
Yes.
So which is good for wrestling. I like that we're have that talking point. All right, that brings us to our banger of the week. I got EO versus Ripley. I know the ending wasn't fantastic, but the overall match was so good. It was very brutal in all the right ways. They were just hitting each other with everything they got, and I was fully invested in the match other than that little part to it.
That surprises me. Because I was slightly disappointed with the match.
Really? I thought it was so good.
First half of it had like 6 or 7 moments of either total or partial botches. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, okay, this should not be happening between these two type of thing, where it was just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, they just seemed completely off to me.
Yeah.
I mean, even, like, I don't remember exactly what the move was, but like, Rhea almost dropped Io on her head. Mm-hmm. And like Rhea went down to a knee and then had to like power her back up for it. And I was just like, that's weird. That wasn't supposed to happen. And then there was another moment that was kind of similar to that too. And I don't know, just there were a few things that I was just like, it definitely had its moments for sure. And the second half of the match, I think, was better up until the ending. But
I thought, because I did notice a few of those, or some of the botches you're talking about, but I thought they played through it pretty well and just were like, it just led to more brutal spots, and they did a good job playing off of that, I thought. So that match was the one that stood above the rest for me.
Okay. I went with Punk's promo.
Yeah.
There was nothing better in wrestling this week than that.
that was really good.
Like, it was... That is what we fucking watch it for.
Yeah.
That is the reason we are fans, are those moments right there that have the fucking hair on the back of your neck standing up, it gives you goosebumps, and you're just fucking, your butthole is suction cupped to the seat that you're sitting on. Because there ain't no chance you're getting up and walking away from a moment like that. And yeah, that's what I went with.
All right, Belt's question of the week. I posed this one for us. We've talked about Paul Heyman a lot. He has managed some of the biggest names. He's elevated a lot of those names. Who would you put as the next Heyman guy?
Braun Breaker.
That's a good one.
Braun Breaker. I said, all I wrote was, I just think it would be perfect for both people. Braun Breaker has the perfect character and ferocity, and just physicality and everything to fit Paul Heyman. And I think that Paul Heyman could take Braun Breaker to that next fucking thing. Like, if they were somehow to hook up before Braun Breaker makes the jump to a world title, and then that's kind of the push, is like Paul Heyman gets behind him and like breeds him into this fucking just unstoppable, like, has the potential to be better than Brock and Roman and like any of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I just think it would be, I think it would be phenomenal. And Braun Breaker's mic skills are head and shoulders above either Brock or Roman.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, you put Paul Heyman as the mouthpiece, but with Braun Breaker's ability to also be his own mouthpiece. Now you're talking about like a collaboration of talents now. And I think it could just be so cool.
I will say Roman's has gotten way better, but Breaker is really good on the mic. So, but no,
taken him 15 fucking years.
That's true. That's true. But I like that pairing. That's a good idea. I went with a gal, Asuka. Asuka was a force to be reckoned when she first came to NXT, and then she unfortunately had to lose to Charlotte Flair, of course, and lose all momentum. She was on this like 400-day undefeated streak and everything, and then lost to Charlotte. Won't talk a lot about it, but again, you can't understand a lot that she says, so having a manager of Heyman on her side and bring her back to that dominance, because she still got it and everything. So I think it would be the perfect pairing, and it would be something different for Heyman to go to the women's side of things.
Yeah,
and
that would be cool.
And I thought that would be pretty awesome.
Cool. God, that just made my brain rack about other potential female that he could, like, fucking Bailey.
Yeah. Oh, that would be a good one.
Could be really fucking interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Or like
Becky.
Yeah. Becky comes back, and you have the man as a Paul Heyman guy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. The women's division, there's actually a lot of ripened fruits to be picked for Paul Heyman.
I also thought...
Why did I just say Paul Bearer, Tim?
I also thought... I
hope he's not managing any of the female. That would be stinky.
I also thought he would be a good manager to Gunther. Gunther is great already, but to have... Like, it's kind of like the Roman, like where Roman was the top dog, whether we liked it or not, but Paul Heyman really elevated that whole thing. Gunther could use that push too, and bring him just... I thought that would be cool, but Asuka is the one I went with.
That brings us to Blockbusters.
We got some movies. This one I actually put immediately right after our show because this was...
an accidental viewing.
Yeah, like I saw the trailer thinking it was what we were talking about last week.
Saw the trailer for Mobland, but it was Mob Cops.
Yes.
Which ironically, then we have the trailer for Mobland.
Yes. So, Mob Cops synopsis: a thrilling crime drama about the darkest corruption case in the history of the New York City Police Department. When a retired NYPD detective writes a book about his family's ties to the mob, it ignites a firestorm between the dirty cops working for the city's brutal crime boss and the officers trying to bring them to justice. Cast is David Arquette, Jeremy Luke, Kevin Conley. Release date is April 25th, and it's coming to theaters. When I thought this was Mobland, I was like, oh, this is a really, really cool trailer. And then when I found out it wasn't the trailer, I was just like, well, it's something I want to talk about because,
There you go.
again, it's one of those based off true event movies. And so I do enjoy those very much. And it brings, like David Arquette, big fan. It brings him into a serious role. I know Scream, it was serious, but he also had comedy. He brought comedy to the character.
Yeah, he was the goofy, clumsy police officer in the
yeah. I think in Scream 5 he was a little less comedy, but there was still some to it. But yeah, no, this I think it looked like a cool movie. I like the whole like who's a good cop, who's not a bad cop kind of drama going on. So yeah,
sure. I watched this trailer last week also in contemplation of putting it on last week's episode too, and I chose not to put it on last week's episode. Last week's episode we were fuller.
Yeah.
But my first watching of the trailer just didn't really like tickle my fancy that much. I was just kind of like, all right. Mm-hmm. Then I rewatched it after you put it on for this week, and I rewatched it, and I was like, okay, I think I can be a little more on board with it.
Yeah.
I don't know, it might have just been the headspace or my setting where I was at when I watched it, and might not have fully paid that like full attention to it when I was watching it before. But yeah, I like I didn't realize until I watched it this time that that is like a based on a true story thing too, which I love those too. So yeah, I'm excited for it now too.
Perfect. Sacramento.
I was going to put this one on here also.
Synopsis: Ricky, an energetic and free-spirited young man with a Peter Pan complex, convinces his longtime friend Glenn to hit pause on his blissful domestic life and embark on an impromptu road trip across California. The cast is Michael Cera, Michael Angarano, Maya Eskrin, and Kristen Stewart. Release date is April 11th. Coming to the movie theaters. I'm a big fan of Michael Cera, and he's that awkward comedy, and this is what that feels. It kind of feels like a Juno / Nick and Nora Infinite Playlist and stuff, and
has those vibes.
It has those vibes, and it's like it kind of seems like an indie film almost, and we've talked about a couple on this show, but not a lot, and so I'm really excited for this one. And it looks like it has the laughs in it, and that's what ever since Superbad, big fan of Super Michael Cera.
No, I was excited about this one. I just think, and then watching the trailer for it, I was just like, this is it's gonna be good. I don't think it's gonna be like a super bad level of comedy type thing, but it's gonna be more of like a I don't know, just like a heartfelt comedy type movie is what it seems like, where it's more of like a coming to terms with certain things and not midlife crisis type thing, but because they're not old enough, they're like our age, right? But it's still like that type of like figuring some shit out. Yeah. And I can relate because Michael Cera's portion of it is like freaking out because he's about to have a kid. Yeah. Right. And so I was like, oh, that's relatable. Right. Yeah. I mean, I didn't freak out before we had Lainey, but it was like, oh yeah, my life's about to completely fucking change. And like, that is scary because you just don't know. Right. There's a lot of unknown. So I thought it was awesome. I thought he dumps the ashes and it just lands on the dock below. He goes, so whatever he said, pizza or whatever
breakfast?
He said. Yeah, breakfast. It's like he didn't even acknowledge the fact that he didn't even pour it into the water. He just poured it onto the dock below him. Yeah. And Michael Cera's like...
and then the way it closes out, sex is definitely off the table. No making out. Did you just wink?
Did you just
No.
wink at me?
I love those moments in movies. They're always funny. So really excited for that one. Mm-hmm. Next up brings up Bambi the Reckoning. We've talked about the Pooniverse a lot, and this is the next movie. I know
you did it to me this week because I was going to add Sacramento and Bambi the Reckoning, but I didn't get to doing it until yesterday, I think. And then I looked, I was like, oh fuck, he already added them. Well, that's what we're rolling with.
So next movie in the Reckoning, in the Pooniverse. So we've talked extensively on that. So excited for this. Synopsis: after a mother and son get in a car wreck, they soon become hunted by Bambi, a mutated, grief-stricken deer on a deadly rampage, seeking revenge for the death of his mother. The cast is Roxanne McKee, who was in Game of Thrones, Hercules, Tom Mulholland, Nicola Wright, and Samira Mighty, and Alex Cook. It didn't have an official date, but it did say summer of 2025, and it's coming to the theaters. It just fits right into the Pooniverse movie so far. Definitely vibes of the Winnie Pooh, Blood and Honey and everything. Just kind of crazy seeing Bambi chasing you around.
Yeah.
And I talked about it last week, and I was half expecting, it reminded me of Jurassic Park. Well, we got a zombie-ish Bambi chasing people around, and kind of feels like a Jurassic Park type thing too.
Yeah. I will say, I think this one, I feel like I was a little more, I'm still here for it, but I feel like I was a little more disappointed with just the way this trailer looked compared to the others we've gotten since the first Pooh, Blood and Honey. Because the first Pooh, Blood and Honey was definitely, you could tell by watching it was definitely a low budget film, right? But they put out the second one, and it was significantly better.
Yeah.
Right? And then we've gotten the trailers for the other two.
Yeah.
Or I guess
not for Pinocchio.
We haven't gotten the trailer for it, but we got the video of the animatronic Pinocchio moving, which looks legit.
Yeah.
And then we got the trailer for Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Right?
Which looked insane.
Which looked crazy. And then this one felt like it was more back in the realm
of that first
the first Pooh. And I was just kind of like, oh, this doesn't look great. And I thought that they would have done a little bit more. Didn't we get did we get a trailer for it, or did we just talk about Popeye?
I think we just loosely talked about it. But we also got a trailer for the Steamboat Willie.
Steamboat Willie, yeah.
Which is crazy too. So
yeah. But anyways, I was just kind of like, hopefully the movie itself is better than the way the parts of the trailer looked. But, yeah.
The only I kind of agree with you is just you got more tangible characters to work with in a Avengers like kind of movie with Pooh, Tigger, and Peter Pan, and then you got Bambi.
Yeah,
it's like the odd one out.
It does feel like that. Yeah,
and so. But still, it looks crazy. I mean, just to think there's a wild Bambi chasing you around is just insane.
Yep.
That brings us over to the series side of things. I also post this, The Bondsman. Synopsis: Hub Halloran, a murdered bounty hunter who's back from the dead after being resurrected by the devil to trap and send back demons that have escaped from the prison of hell. By chasing down those demons with the help and hindrance his estranged family, Hub learns how his own sins got his soul condemned, which pushes him to seek a second chance at life, love, and country music. Cast: Kevin Bacon. This is coming out on April 3rd on Prime, Amazon Prime. Looks awesome.
It looks fucking fantastic.
It looks like a mix of Supernatural / Constantine.
This is the most exciting one that we have on this week for me. When I saw the trailer, I was like, this looks so fucking dope and original and just unique, and it's Kevin Bacon of all people in this role, and I was like, oh, that's because that's new and different for him too, and I think that's fantastic. So
it was just,
it looks good.
Yeah, and it's just like the trailer. It's like a no hold bar. Like it was just he's saying fuck in the trailer. There's a lot of blood and a chainsaw.
It felt like it was a Red Band trailer.
Yeah,
but it wasn't. It was just the trailers, right?
So very, very excited for this. Big fan of Kevin Bacon, and so this is gonna be a fun one.
Yeah, I'm excited for this too. April 3rd, right around the corner also.
Hell yeah, right before my birthday.
Hell yeah.
That brings us to Fred. Follow-up, rumors,
early
development.
All right. We got the Mobland trailer after all of the confusion from last week, which also then led us to a talking point this week. But we got the actual trailer for Mobland, starring Tom Hardy and Pierce Brosnan and Helen Mirren. And it does have a very, I mentioned it last week when we were talking about the show, that the synopsis kind of made it sound like it was going to be like a mob focused Yellowstone meets Game of Thrones type of show. And that's exactly what this kind of feels like is exactly that. And but the show looks it looks fucking intense.
It does.
So,
it really does.
Yeah.
And, the director's Guy Ritchie, and it definitely made me think of The Gentleman with Matthew McConaughey. It was a pretty cool movie. Kind of gave me some vibes of that, but yeah, this looks intense. I'm here for Pierce Brosnan, and then Tom Hardy being the strong arm guy. What they call him, like the
fixer.
The fixer. That was the word. Yep. Looks violent. We're talking about a lot of violent stuff.
Yes, we are.
If it ain't horror, it's violence.
Yep. It's not horror, it's violence, for sure.
That brings us to another update for Scream 7.
Which, violence and horror.
Yes. David Arquette is reportedly returning to the franchise after being killed off in Scream 5. They're bringing everyone back for this one, and I hope it doesn't take away from the movie. Yes, it's going to be great to see all these past characters, but it's becoming a lot now. It was cool to see Roman Bridger coming back, Chris Foley, Chris Foley, right? Something Foley. I think it's Chris Foley.
Yeah, I think.
And then Matthew Lillard.
Yeah.
But now this third one, is it going to take away from the overarching story of Scream 7? I hope not. I hope it's just a quick flashback, or maybe it's just their voices, with the voice changer, maybe. So I don't know.
That's what I was kind of curious. Is just how, and that what everything you're saying is going to really lean on and depend on how they're coming back, right? Is Dewey all of a sudden just going to be alive? He didn't actually die in Scream 5 or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They put him into hiding so he could recover or whatever, is that going to be what it is? Or do we find out that Matthew Lillard's character didn't actually die, but he's just been in some sort of high security penitentiary all these years, and now Sydney has to go and talk to him to try to get in the headspace of figure out what the fuck's going on now, or something like that, almost like a fucking Silence of the Lambs type interaction? Or could it all be, and this would be kind of fucking crazy, this would be a wild fucking way to go about it, however, this just came to me. What if it's all of these people are flashbacks of some form, but it's all in Sydney's head? And what if Sydney ends up being Ghostface?
I've always said I want her as Ghostface.
What if she turns out to be? The only thing that's making me think that that's not going to happen is the fact that they have somebody cast as her daughter in this, so that would seem kind of weird.
Yeah,
to have the daughter of Sidney Prescott, but then have Sidney Prescott turn out to be Ghostface would be kind of weird. But it could also be fucking dope. I don't know.
I thought all this trauma she's gone through in the whole series, why not?
That could totally fucking turn her.
That would turn her, right? So I've said that idea, and then
but also, how could you have them all in the way that they are now in flashbacks. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Like Matthew Lillard still looks like Matthew Lillard, but I mean, you could definitely tell he's aged 30 years since the first movie came out, right?
For sure.
Same with David Arquette.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and Foley.
Yeah.
Bridger, right? It's like none of them look the same because it's fucking 20 to 30 years later, depending on the movie, right?
Yeah.
So,
So I'm still excited for this movie, obviously, and it's just how many more can they make return to this movie?
Yeah. If Emma Roberts is all of a sudden back too, I'm gonna be like, what is fucking happening right now? If they
at least she's alive though.
That's true.
Yeah.
If any of them do, like if they do bring back any more, it's just going to further fuel my fucking theory then. Though.
Yeah.
If they bring back any more dead people or supposed to be dead people, then I'm just gonna be like, Sidney Prescott's fucking gonna be Ghostface. All right, well, that brings us to our special segment of the week this week, and it is Toasted or Trash. We're switching it up for the first time, and this was something that I have contemplated multiple times over the last couple months when we've done Toasted or Trash, but I was just like, I don't know how to go about it. Mm-hmm. And then you said it very simply, and was just like, just watch at least one episode.
Yep.
I was like, oh, fuck, yeah, that makes sense, because I was like, how the fuck can we do Toasted or Trash with series?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I guess if we like assigned it the previous month and you have a month to try to get through it or whatever, that would be one thing. But no, it was just very simple. Like, watch the first episode and talk about how it is. Yeah. And now with both these shows, it's not going to be exactly the same as Toasted or Trash this month because we both already know how we feel about these shows because we've talked about these shows before. But when you gave me that, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to give you this other one that I've talked about that I want you to watch too. So we both know that we feel both these shows are toasted. So we don't need to go into the guessing game.
But we can still guess if you, or I guess you're going to say if you did, but...
Oh, yeah. We'll just say how we felt about them. Right?
Yeah.
So we decided to go with series, and you had the great idea of just watch the first episode at least. If you have time to get through any more, obviously go ahead. But like first episode of the series and just what your thoughts on it are. And you gave me Prison Break, and I gave you The 100.
Yep.
Well,
I enjoyed the first episode. There was a lot going on right off the bat, so it wasn't like a slow burn of getting to know all these characters. You get to learn a little more throughout the first episode, and I only watched the first episode so far. But I liked the premise of it. I like it. It's again like a post-Earth situation going on. We've talked about Silo, similar, and everything, and so that had me intrigued all in itself.
Actually, is a very similar concept to a point to Silo.
Yeah. And so just watching what was happening with these young adults, young teenagers going down to Earth again, and then the way the first episode ended was just like, oh my god. And
was that when they find like that they're not alone?
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah. I was like,
it's been a while since I've watched it. I watched it when I first moved over in like 2017 or whatever. So that was when I first started watching it. So I was like, some of them blend together for me.
Yeah, but that was it kept my interest throughout it all. And then it ended on this cliffhanger where it wants me to watch, where I want to watch more.
Yeah.
I thought it was toasted. I thought the first episode was toasted and excited for something new to watch.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
What about you?
Prison Break, first time watch for me as well. And it was, I think it was intriguing out the gate, but then it got a little slow in the first episode, but then it ended with a bit of a bang. Yeah. Right. I think it was intriguing in the beginning because I was just like, what the fuck is happening? Because it kind of was like cuts.
Yeah.
Right. It's like starts with him getting the tattoo, and then all of a sudden it cuts to him ripping all this shit off of the windows and like all of these, which obviously you can tell are like plot points to what's happening, right? But it's like all of these, like this person, a newspaper clipping of his brother being that was like showing as like he's the killer of this person, and then shows the bad guy from Bad Boys too. I never remember his name.
Russian space station.
Yeah, exactly. Him too. Yeah. And then it shows the chick and like all these stuff, and he's just ripping all these papers down, and you're just like, what is happening? And then all of a sudden it cuts to him fucking shooting up a bank and to set himself up to get arrested, and then it cuts to in the courtroom, and it was just like boom, 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 and I was like, what is going on? And then after the courtroom scene, I felt like it kind of ended up moving fairly slow, and I was just kind of like, all right, but then the ending when you finally like see the tattoo, and he's like, look closer, and then it like pops out, and you're like, oh fuck, he tattooed the fucking blueprint of the prison onto himself. I was like, god damn. So yeah, it definitely kind of hooked me right then. I'm like, all right, I gotta figure out what the fuck's going on. So I definitely want to watch more, and I would definitely say it's toasted as well.
Hell yeah.
It got me at the end. I will admit there was a moment in the middle where I was like, it's just kind of drawn on right now. I'm not sure what we're leading toward.
I mean, I'm not going to tell you to rewatch it because you just did it, but knowing the ending of the episode and what the tattoos mean, you can definitely see there's plots building to what's happening in the overall show.
And you can, another thing that like kept me from fully leaning into all this kind of slow was you can definitely tell that he has an agenda of what is happening inside the prison. And like, it's like everything he is doing and everything that's happening is like very specific. Like he is doing things very specifically. Yeah. And so that in and of itself was enough to keep me like from going, I don't know. Yeah. You know, I was just kind of like, that's kind of slow, but there's something about this guy. You know, something's going on here that I do want to know what it is that's going on. So it was definitely enough to keep me hooked. So.
Well, I'm excited for you to hopefully continue watching it, and because this is just one of my favorite shows, and it's intense. It kept me drawn in for so long. So
yeah, not the same with you on the 100, but I haven't rewatched it because I wanted to give it some time, because it's one where I was like, I would love to fully rewatch it almost new again. Yeah. Because I loved the show so much, but I want to see if Lindsay will watch it with me also.
Gotcha.
Because it is one that's like fully out on it's on Netflix still.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. We're watching it.
And yeah, so it was like one, and I think there's 6 seasons. I want to say the 6th season.
Is this a Netflix show, or it was on TV?
It was. What was it on? I can't remember what channel it was on, but I only ever watched it on Netflix because like I want to say
maybe
it was like
the CW first show.
It might have been.
It feels.
I want to say like it was like the first 3 seasons were on Netflix when I started watching it.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then it was like I was just like each time a season would end, and then it'd eventually get put on Netflix, and I would watch that. You know.
Nice.
But yeah, I want to say I think there's six seasons.
Good.
So
nice.
Yeah. All right, Blockbusters question of the week. I posed this one. I said, what is a childhood cartoon you used to watch that you would like to see done as a live action show? I said, how would you want it done? Like, would you want to keep it as a comedy? I mean, I guess I said keep it as a comedy because most childhood cartoons are comedies, right?
Yeah.
I said, would you want it to be done as a drama, a horror? What would you like to see? And I will preface this with, I've read, there's been a handful of things that have come out recently about the attempted live action Powerpuff Girls show.
Oh, okay.
That I think that was also the CW. It was like, I don't remember exactly what year it was like greenlit, and then they like shot a pilot, and Faison, Turk.
Oh,
I forget his first name.
Yeah.
Donald Faison.
I was going to say not again. We've already done a fact check.
I know we've done it exactly with him too. He played the guy that like creates them.
Yeah.
Thing, right? And then it was like live action girls, but it was apparently was like the synopsis kind of idea of it was like they're now like in their mid-20s and all battling like their own fucking like alcoholism, like all their own type of shit. And apparently the trailer had leaked and this show had been canceled.
Gotcha.
Right. So like it was like they had shot a pilot for it, but the pilot was never, it ended up being scrapped. And then the whole thing was like reworked. And then it ended up just fully being scrapped in like 2023 or something.
Okay.
So it's dead. It's a dead project. But that's what kind of led me to this idea. Was just reading about like, apparently in this, they like took Mojo Jojo and like split it into two different people, one called Mojo. That was like the original arch nemesis, and then he was like killed off or something. But then his son Jojo, like, kind of came back and took over. And instead of it being a monkey, it was like two white dudes, and like people were like, "What the fuck is happening?"
Yeah.
And then they talked about like the three girls, the characters that play the Powerpuff Girls. Like at some point, one of them in the trailer for it says something along the lines of like, talking about the cartoon of them.
Oh wow.
And how it whitewashed them.
Oh.
And like because one of the girls was black, one was like Hispanic and whatever. And it was like, what the fucking people are just like, oh my God, we're so happy. I was just reading comments about like, people are just like, thank God for whoever fucking canned this, because and like whoever thought that this was a good idea was a fucking idiot type of thing.
Yeah.
So it just made me, I took that from all I was reading and I was like, oh, that could be a good question. So what is the childhood cartoon that you used to watch that you would like to see done as a live action show, and how would you want it to be done?
All right. Well, I got two.
Okay.
I got two, and they're both like animes. So it's Sailor Moon and Case Closed.
Okay.
And I mean, Sailor Moon is just like all women group, kind of like Power Rangers, and thought that would be really cool. I wouldn't switch anything from the show. I would just keep it as just this action show. And then Case Closed is like a detective show, and I think that in itself is great. And so I think that would be good in live action. So
awesome.
I would lean probably more towards Sailor Moon, just because that was one of the shows I would watch before going to school and stuff. And so, yeah,
nice.
I thought that was a fun question.
Cool. I've never watched either of those, so I'm not an anime person. It just like was never something that tickled my fancy. So I went with Scooby-Doo. Now, I know Scooby-Doo has been done live action before. So hear me out. I said I want it to be done more in like a drama / psychological thriller type of way, where the whole group is a group of like PIs. Scooby-Doo is an actual dog, like almost like a retired canine unit or something that they have. I said, and they have these specific cases each episode, similar to like
Dude, go away. Go away.
Go. But yeah, so like similar to the Blacklist.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Similar to that, or similar to the new show.
The hunting party. Yeah.
Right? Like how like each episode kind of focuses on a different case, right? Or even Dexter.
Yeah.
Okay, that was another one I had in my mind for this, because on my next part of this was so I said that there's specific cases, each episode of brutal murders that they're trying to solve and figure out who it is. Okay. But there's also like each season there would be like an overarching like serial killer on the loose that they're then trying to figure out who it is.
I like it.
So
yeah, that's an awesome idea.
Yeah, that was what I went with. I was like, that would be kind of cool, because like the live action Scooby-Doo movies were just Scooby-Doo in live action, right? I was like, I want to see this shit done more in like a adult fucking like
that's an awesome idea.
Yeah. Horror, thriller, drama, Law and Order-esque type fucking thing. So that's what I went with.
I like it.
Yeah, man, that fucking wraps us up.
That wrapped it up.
All right. Well, I'm going to cheers you with my coffee, because I drank my drink. Cheers, dude.
Cheers, man.
And cheers to you, Quinn. You made the podcast for the first time.
Let's fucking go.
Bye.